Hello, FlossTube family. This is Shelly with Proverbs 31:22, and today is Tuesday. Let's see, March the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. Uh-oh, I don't have green on. Oh well. Can you virtually pinch me for not having green on? um, I'm home by myself, so no one's going to pinch me today. But I wanted to come on today and just do a little a stitch with me today. I have a few little new tools that I wanted to share about, and I also just need to I need to process something. So um, I don't know. This is my way of processing what I'm going through right now with my work situation. So anyway, some of the new tools that I've started using, I think I mentioned in previous floss tube about my iPad resurrecting itself, willingly being resurrected by me, and deleted a bunch of apps and stuff off of it, and I'm basically only using it to keep track of my patterns. So I have some that are PDF, that I purchased PDF. The ones that are not PDF, but are paper charts, like this is what I'll be working on today. This is from the Fat Quarter Shop Stitch Quarterly. This came as a paper pattern. This is not the pattern, this is just a little leaflet, but it came as a paper pattern, and I started using it like that. But I made a mistake when I was stitching earlier today. And usually, when I do paper patterns, I highlight off what I've done. And so, when you make a mistake and you've highlighted, um, you can't, like when you go back to restitch it, it's already highlighted. So, um, I just decided that from here on out, if at all possible, I'm going to take my paper patterns and scan them as PDFs so that I can open them in my iPad. This is not the home pattern because that's not a free pattern. What I'm showing you right here is just the free linen and threads stitch along, mystery stitch along. So, like on this, I've highlighted the stitches that I've done. And if you probably can't see it because of the glare. But anyway, if I had made a mistake, I could then get the eraser and erase those and then re-highlight them as I stitch from scratch, to correct the mistakes. So that's one tool. And I open it in iNote box. I think that's the name of it. It's just a PDF markup tool that I have that I bought years ago. This morning when I was working on this is one of the items that came in the Stitch Quarterly bag. And, it's like a little needle case, but I had a light bulb moment. I was using this little top to a candle as my art jar, but if you're stitching on the go and you don't have a trash can or anything and you've got all your arts in here, then when you get ready to put your stuff away to, do whatever, get out of the car or whatever, it's not contained. So this would be contained. Like you could put your arts in here, and then if you don't have a place to empty them, just close it, put it in your bag. I watched a video the other day by Vanna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher, and she was showing her stitching technique. And one of the tips that she gave was to use Thread Heaven. I don't think they make Thread Heaven anymore, but I got this Thread Magic for my hand quilting at Joann. And I've started using this on my floss, and it really does. Um, she was using it to sort of cut down on like it makes the fibers repel each other so that your threads that are laying side by side, they tend to not twist as much. What I like about it is that it really reduces drag on the thread. So it makes it just glide. It makes the cotton floss glide sort of like silk does. So I like that a lot. Um, and then another floss tuber that I watch, Stitch All the Things, Christine. She has this little thing that she wears if you ever watch her stitch with me. This is, and I'm sorry, I meant to grab the little packaging and I forgot, but I will link it below. I got it off of Amazon. Um, and I'm drawing a blank on what exactly it's called, but basically she uses it as a laying tool. So, and there's several different things that people use as laying tools, but I've just started using this, so I'm still a little like it's a little bit of a learning curve and getting that rhythm down. But I just put it on my thumb like this way. I think Christine uses it on this finger, but she stitches with a frame, and I stitch in hand. So the thumb, and I tried it, top side of my thumb. I've tried it on the index and the thumb both ways, and I think this is the winner is on the underside of the thumb. And you'll see in a minute when I start stitching. So this is a little sharp, so I am gonna, when I put it in my bag, put one of these little Lori Holt point protectors that came in a Sew Sampler box recently. So that helps a lot. And then to mark the pattern, I have my little, we got these pins at Project Linus, and it has a stylus tip. And also, I forgot what I really, really wanted to show you was what's under this board. This board is one that my husband made for me years ago, lap desk. But underneath is something that I just got in the mail yesterday. This is a gaming lap desk. It's a Glom Tom. It has I don't know if you can see, it's got a little zippered pouch right here where gamers can put their controllers. Of course, stitchers could put their, their little stitch bag with all of their necessities, stitch gauge, corner gauge, scissors, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, this little lap desk, this Glom Tom, it fits around it has an arm on each side and it fits around your middle. And you can use it without the board. You can use just the Glom Tom. And I don't remember the angle, but it's at a certain angle that's supposed to help you it supports your arms so that when you're stitching, your arms aren't hanging. And that's really important for people like me who have shoulder problems. I've had rotator cuff surgery, and I can't just let this arm especially hang. But usually I just pile up a dozen pillows on each side. This eliminates the need to do that. And like I said, you could use it without the board on top. I like having the board on top because it gives me more surface area. So, and then I could also, like when I'm not here in my chair with this light, I have the other little light that clamps on, and I can clamp that onto probably the side over here. I just got this yesterday. So when I got home from work last night, I took it out of the box and did some stitching for stress relief. So, anyway, I haven't tested it with the board yet with the little clamp-on light. If the clamp doesn't work, my rechargeable light you can either clamp it or it has a base, and it's another Bright Tech product. Love it. You can charge it And I mean, I can stitch for hours and hours on one charge. So, and it's a magnifier and a light clip on, and it has a little base that, I could just set it on top of here. So, I worked on this a little when I first got it in the mail, and I worked on it again this morning, and I'm about to finish the outline of the H so that I can just stitch when I don't have, I don't have to count or anything. So I'm gonna sort of move the camera down so you won't be able to see my face. You'll be able to just see the stitching. And hopefully I can get this where you won't be able to see the pattern. Well, you know what? I don't think I even need the pattern, because now I'm just connecting the lines. So I can eliminate this altogether. And this fabric is, I can stitch on this without having to have the magnification. Okay, so oh, great. Lost my needle. Oh no, it's in here. Gosh, that moment when you realize you've sat down and got everything situated and you don't have everything you need. Okay. So, work. For those of you that don't know, I work in the healthcare industry, and it is something that I stumbled upon in 2008. From the time that our older daughter was, well, right before she was born, till our younger daughter was a senior in high school, I was a stay-at-home mom. We homeschooled our girls, and I was blessed to be able to stay home with them. And then in 2008, when the economy crashed, and my husband got cut back at work, I had to find a job to supplement the income. So I worked for, the only thing I could find immediately was at Sears as a cashier, which, was not, it was not ideal or anything, for several different reasons. But anyway, I took it because, like I said, that was all I could get. But in the meantime, I had registered with the local manpower office, and I did have at-home experience transcribing, not medical transcription, but transcribing for internet marketers. So I had that on my resume, and about probably 2 weeks into my gig at Sears, I got a call to go for an interview at a cardiology clinic for a medical transcriptionist. And amazingly enough, I landed the job. So, no experience at all in the medical field. So, I was all on the job training. And I've always been good with writing and grammar. So, I did well at the job, and it was a job that was completely in the background of things, not really involved on a day-to-day basis at all with patients. The job did evolve into a short stint scribing for a doctor, and that was a little bit more, interaction with patients. But I ended up, that's when I tore my rotator cuff, and I had to stop doing that. So I went back to sort of in the background, and um, I was okay with that. I was comfortable. It was in the medical field, but it wasn't really. I wasn't front and center with patients, so it was okay. And then when I left there after about 8 years, I stayed home for about 9 months, and then um, got a job with another cardiology clinic part time, working as a medical secretary for one of the doctors. And then a month later, my husband got laid off. And so I had to go to full time. So since I had um, was able to keep up with the medical secretary work in a part-time capacity when I needed to go for full-time, um, I had to assume other duties. So I worked half a day doing the clinical secretary things, which was in the background. They tried me in the business office. That didn't really work real well. Even though I think I could have learned, I don't think the person that was training me was who I needed to train me. So that didn't work out. And so they moved me to half a day in reception, which of course is front and center with people. It was very stressful because it was a very busy office. They had four doctors plus ultrasound technicians and stress test technicians, um, blood thinner clinic, pacemaker clinic, um, and there were three people that worked up front. And that included answering phones and checking in, checking out, all that sort of thing. So very stressful. And I was front and center with people, which I'm not very comfortable with to begin with. So, um, but you do what you got to do. Um, but in that environment, I wasn't surrounded by sick people. It was a specialist office, so it was people coming in for their routine follow-ups with their cardiologist. I mean, we did have occasionally people who would come in that were sick. Um, but it wasn't like where I'm at now, which is an urgent care clinic. And my main reason for switching positions was that the insurance situation. I mean, my husband did get another job, but the insurance, um, his insurance coverage was, I don't remember if it was just real expensive or it was just the coverage. I think it was the coverage he had at the job that he got. So I had gotten, when he didn't have a job, I had gotten on the insurance at the cardiology clinic, and they had they just had a lot of reasons for them not to be able to shop around. Let's just say that for insurance, not a lot. One reason, which I won't go into on here, but anyway, the insurance coverage for me alone and just health insurance, not dental or vision or, short or long term disability or anything, was just astronomical, terribly expensive. And so I had a friend that worked for the company that I'm working for now, and she recommended me for the job that I have now, and I've been there since May of 18. So this job is front desk clerk. Um, and the company's model is to have one um, one receptionist, one medical assistant, and one provider on duty at any one time. So there is no backup. It's me up front, and that's it. To do phones, to check in, to check out, to give work notes, to do medical records. Um, it's, everything. I'm it. And it's a 12-hour shift, um, which the shifts have been easier since we, have said previously in a video that we switched, Michelle and I, the other receptionist, um, changed our schedule so we're not ever having to work any back-to-back 12-hour shifts. So that's helped a lot physically. But I still, over the last probably 3 months, have realized I feel like I don't have any business being in the role that I'm in because I have absolutely I have compassion for people who are feeling bad, but I don't have compassion for stupidity or, the people that come to my desk that have never been there before and say, when you say, okay, I need your license and insurance info, and they say, oh, I didn't know I needed my insurance info. That kind of thing. Just, I have to stop my eyes from rolling back in my head or reaching across the counter and shaking them and saying, really? So, anyway, it's just this realization that, I'm in a field that I really don't feel, a lot of people that are in the medical field have a calling or um, they know that they were meant to be a nurse or to, work in the medical field. That's just their calling. It's not my calling. And so it's been a little bit of a struggle over the last few months coming to that realization and how much I really hate it. Um, and I think it was just easier when I was in the background because I wasn't having to deal with patients and I wasn't having to, um, I had to carry a good bit of the load on my own shoulders, but I did have other coworkers that were there to take some of the load off or make the days, a little easier. We don't have that, so it's been a struggle. And then now we have this pandemic, and we have a company that, quite frankly, I just shake my head. We're owned by a corporation out of Nashville, and we've recently joint ventured with a hospital in Alabama who, they put their name on our building and influx some money, I'm sure, and that's the only help that we've gotten from them. So, um, it's ratcheting up my stress level, not only, um, you know, thinking about the fact that I work for a company who, um, I don't know, it's a lot of lip service and not a lot of like actual, actually doing anything. This is just an example that I'm about to tell you. So, you know, you're at the front desk, you're answering the phone all day long because one, they don't have a call center, which, that would be a huge that would just take so much off of your local in-clinic people, is to have a call center and only route the calls that absolutely need to talk to the clinic. Um, all the wrong numbers, all the people just calling for information would just all be done away with if they had a call center. But they don't have a call center. Um, and then, so it's up to the person working the front desk. So you would think that a healthcare organization, I think I'm off on this too. I am. So I'll have to frog all that I just did while I'm sitting here talking. Anyway, you would think that a healthcare organization would care enough about the health and well-being of their people to put as standard equipment in every center that they open a headset for the front desk. I had to ask for a headset. Was initially told, let's get a price. We got a price from our IT people, and the manager said, sorry, it's not in the budget. And I had told her, I have neck and shoulder issues. I need a headset. This is a risk for double crush. The not double crush, but I mean there is a double crush syndrome with carpal tunnel. Your carpal that median nerve goes all the way from your neck down to the wrist. So when you're like this with a phone between your shoulder and your ear, damn day long, you need a headset. Anyway, she refused. So I just, whatever. And then I trained someone who used to be a compliance officer in a medical clinic in Texas. And we were discussing the issue with the headset. And she said, if you tell them that you have a medical reason for needing that, they have to make an accommodation for you. So I went over the manager's head and reached out to HR and said, hey, I asked for this, and this should be standard equipment in every clinic. So they said, yes, get us a letter from your doctor. We can make that accommodation, get you your headset, and yes, we will add that to the list of things to discuss at the next, leadership meeting, whatever. Well, none of the new clinics have had headsets that they've opened since ours is opened and since I brought that up. So they don't care, basically. They really don't. They only care about making money. So that's just one example of how little they care about the health and well-being of their employees. Another thing that's really been a problem just on several levels is the fact that the front desk does not have a window. It's all open to the waiting room. There's no privacy for patients to talk to them about what's going on with them, or to talk to them about if they have a, bad debt, they've been turned over to collections, and, hey, you have to pay this balance before you can be seen today. There's no privacy whatsoever. And there's also no protection for me or whoever's sitting at the front desk for, irate patients who, I've dealt with one before that I was scared for my safety. No window at all to stop him from reaching across the counter and grabbing me, or no window to protect me from the people who sit in the waiting room for 12 hours coughing their heads off, while I'm sitting there exposed. Can't wear a mask because you have to answer the phone. So these are just the little irritations that are like ratcheted up because of this current crisis that that's going on with the coronavirus. Because we're getting inundated with telephone calls to the point that it's nearly, it's just 10 times more difficult to even get patients checked in and ready to see the people, in the back because you're constantly answering phone calls. Um, we got um, an update on Friday, and um, I wasn't at work on Friday, but we got the update on Friday, and they told us that we could put this little note on the door, and then my coworker said, before I even could get and go and put it on the door, we'd already gotten another email saying, don't put this on the door because we're going to get more new protocols or something on Monday. Well, we left it up on the door because, we'll put something new once it changes. So I worked yesterday and we did not get a single update as far as, here's what we need to do. Here's what you need to tell people now. Um, you know, Nothing other than a letter from the CEO saying, oh, we're so concerned about this current crisis and, we care so much about our urgent blank family. Um, Blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, I'm really struggling with, you know, putting myself at risk for a job that I could care less about, that I absolutely hate. And then to have, a company that gives you absolutely no support whatsoever, and no information, and feeling like I'm just completely, like I'm not equipped to answer the questions that these people have because I don't, I'm not a nurse. I don't, I don't have the knowledge, the medical background knowledge to answer these questions that people are legitimately concerned about. So yesterday was very, very stressful to the point where at one point I just had to say, I got to step away. And another issue is that we don't get, we're there for 12 hours. We're open 12 hours. We don't close at all for any period at all. And so um, we don't get a break. You basically just have to eat when you can eat. And so, I sat down and got like 3 bites of a sandwich at one point, and then it was, all hell broke loose and people were coming in and calling and stuff. And so um, I finally just had to tell the gals in the back, hey, if the phone rings, just let it go to voicemail because I'm holding on by a thread and I've just got to step away for a minute and just eat my sandwich for, just 10 minutes. I just need 10 minutes to eat in peace. um, and I guess what do you do? It's not like I have a choice. Um, you got to work. And, I've applied for other positions and, I can't even get a call back from people. So it's like I'm stuck, God's not opening the door for me to go anywhere else. But God, I hate where I'm at. And I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be any easier, but it just feels like it would be easier if it was something that I felt like this is an example of when it really started like hitting home with me. We had some issues a while back, and um, they assigned learning to all the front desk people in our state because we were making so many mistakes. Well, this company has the worst training model of all time, really. But anyway, we got reassigned learning, um, and I started doing it and realized that quite a bit of it was outdated collection policy. So I reach out to the manager. Hey, what do you want to do? I get blown off like 2, 3 times. And then finally, it's like, hey, I'm about to leave to go on holiday for Christmas. And, these assignments are going to be due while I'm out. What do you want me to do? And was basically told, oh, just do them and we'll figure it out later. So I reached out to the other receptionist and said, are you having a hard time with these? Is it just me? What's the deal? And she said, yeah, I am too. I just decided to just take the test and, take it as many times as I needed to take it to pass it. So I did that. But in talking to her and talking about all the stupid BS, she said, I just try to ignore the BS because I love my job. And that was the moment that it hit me. And I thought, do you really? Because I don't. I hate it. So, is it easier to put up with the BS when you're doing something that you really love? I don't know. I mean, my heart is really at home, but I know that that's not a possibility. I feel like I'm physically better able to work part-time. That's also not a possibility. So it's like, could I just, I don't know, work doing something that I actually enjoy? Find something that is working for a company that actually gives a crap about their people. I don't know what I got going on here, but this is doing some weird stuff, the way it's coming undone. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm off today. I have to go back tomorrow. And I'm not sure, but I think we may, up to this point, we have not had the capability to test people for the COVID-19 virus. I think tomorrow we may have the capability to test people. How is this going to work? Are we going to have people with coronavirus coming? I'm sure we have already, that we couldn't test them and, didn't know that they had them and they didn't fit into the high risk categories, but does that mean that they didn't have it? No way of knowing. But, the thought of people coming and sitting for 12 hours in the waiting room where I'm like right across the desk, without a window or any kind of barrier, the inability to wear a mask because I have to answer the telephone. Yeah. It's weighing heavy. So anyway, guys, that's what's going on with me. I don't know if this helped or not. Maybe it helps just to get it all out. I guess, if you're a praying person, pray for me. Pray for all of us in the medical field, really. Pray for our nation. Okay, I'm going to try this again, but I'm going to say goodbye for now. Thanks, guys, for listening to me rant and rave and process. Bye. Happy stitching.